So I would like to go to the second case study. We've got two case studies today. The second case study is of a patient who was 28 years old when she came to us. Height 160 centimeters, weight of 108 kg, BMI 42.2. Her complaints when she came to us was severe weight gain, unable to conceive. Married in 2005, approached us in 2009. As you see, she was unable to conceive. I'll tell you the patient's history. Patient was anxious to conceive, significant weight gain in the last 2 years, no menstrual complaints, but she was overweight since before, no dysmenorrhea, oligomenorrhea, facial hair growth, regular sexual relation with her husband, no past history of diabetes, hypertension, COX or COX contact, no family history of tuberculosis or any other medical illness related to this. Husband history was regular relation with wife, no erectile dysfunction, no family history of tuberculosis or any other medical disease, no surgical history, no past history of diabetes, hypertension, COX contact. Both were occasional social drinkers and no tobacco intake. Now I think so we have too many infertility specialists here. I'll now keep my mouth shut and I'll listen to what the specialists say. So please, the field is all yours. Yes, Bhakti, you can coordinate. Who would like to speak on this?
Can I just have the first slide? I just missed it.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry.
This one?
Yeah. 28.
Dr. Sudhakandan, your face has been put by your hand, I think so.
Yeah. So this severe weight gain has happened since how long?
The excessive weight gain has happened in the past 2 years.
What was her weight when she got married? Because it's been 2 years.
Yeah, so she was always overweight. She was around 70 odd kgs at the time of marriage. 2 years before she approached us, she was around 95. And from 95, she has gone to 108, 13 kgs in last 2 years.
Yeah, so there is, there is gain of almost, 40 kg in 4 years, approximately?
Almost 70 to 108. 40, almost 40 kg weight gain in 4 years.
In 4 years, yeah. That's it.
So this is a significant weight gain.
Yeah, this is significant. And she's 32.
Yeah.
So, obviously she's not attempted to lose weight. What I'm trying to say is that she's just 28. So if she has gained weight in those 4 years, that is significant that she could also lose weight. Probably just after marriage, they tend to become little not serious. They will overeat and they'll indulge a lot of food, just I think. They will not take care of what they eat. So probably that weight gain is good. Has she attempted to lose weight by diet control and lifestyle modification?
She has attempted to lose weight for 2 consecutive years, but instead of losing, she was just gaining weight. Why? That I will say later, but
that is what is important as to why she's been gaining weight.
I'll come up to what happened to this patient and how she came to us. I'll be narrating that. But in this kind of patient, what do you feel should be your way of treatment? Yes, one, you would definitely ask who's been. What else? So she has clearly come because she's anxious to conceive and she's gained weight. So how would you like to help her?
And what are her other hormonal profile?
Okay, so I would just like to say the hormonal profile is, I have it written with me. AMH was borderline. It was 2. Thyroid profile was normal. Serum.
How much is the AMH?
2.
So that doesn't go with PCOS.
That doesn't
go with. PCOS women have got a very high AMH. Yes. So of a weight of 104 or 108, what she has. If she's PCOS, then her AMH should be 15, 16, 20.
So her AMH was 2.
Okay.
And thyroid profile was normal, serum prolactin was normal, other hormones were normal. USG showed mild PCOS. volume 10 cc in left ovary, 11 cc in right ovary.
No, we are missing something. It's PCOS means we must have a high AMH by and large.
Yeah,
Unless it's a low ovarian reserve in a PCOS, it is rare.
This patient was investigated by a gynecologist only, and the gynecologist has sent us this patient again.
Right.
So these all reports have come to us ready-made. It was not done by us, but it has come to us from a gynecologist. And semen analysis for the husband, that was normal. Inguinoscrotal ultrasound with Doppler showed no varicocele.
Okay. I mean, we have to find out the cause of obesity.
Yeah.
I think that is what is important.
One reason could be, Dr. Tandon, as you rightly said, that yes, after marriage, these things do happen. And most of the females who have come to us post-marriage are because of this. Because of the family, they have to adapt into a new situation, that eating style changes, lifestyle changes.
Yeah, especially there are some families who tend to have a very heavy dinner, and they feel proud about it, and and every meal there's a sweet dish. So
True.
So there is a tremendous amount of lifestyle change. The amount of sugar, the amount of carbohydrates that family eats. So they are compelled to cook and even eat. So unless they
So there are two problems that we see. One is weight gain, and second is unable to conceive. Now, weight gain part, yes, she should go for conservative, but this panel of gynecologists and infertility specialists, how would you like to help her to conceive?
that's what yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
no, basically, see, starting a fertility treatment at a weight of 108 is itself, I mean, the result will not be great, firstly. She will definitely have difficulty in conceiving. And secondly, if she conceives and she becomes pregnant, she's going to have a lot of complications further in pregnancy, like hypertension, diabetes, and, you know, everything that is possible with excessive weight gain. And I mean, since she's been trying to conceive, I think she's been married 4 years and she's gained weight over 2 years, and she's probably not losing the weight, and she's not that motivated to lose weight naturally by, say, exercise or food. Maybe she's tried it. Then I think in such a patient, I would recommend her to at least have the option of bariatric surgery. Be open to it, because once she loses that weight, like you said, she's still 28. So even if she has a surgery at 28 and then she conceives by, say, 30 or 31, you know, she gives herself a good 1 year to lose the weight and get back on track nutritionally and otherwise also, then she has a better chance of conceiving even naturally or by fertility treatment, whichever way. And I think more important than conceiving for her at this age is that she should be healthy. At 108, she's definitely not leading a healthy lifestyle with with being, you know, morbidly obese. Her BMI is 42, which is basically morbidly obese. So in this patient, I would really recommend her to have that option open.
Dr. Nageshwari? Dr. Nageshwari, would you like to say something, add something to this? Dr. Nageshwari, am I audible? Yeah. Would you like to add something to this?
It is really the BMI which is. Am I audible?
Yes. I think so. There is some network issue with Dr. Nageshwari Nanda's place. Till the time.
Dr. Manish?
Yeah.
Since you said that the balloon is not very well tolerated, I was just curious to know, is those similar problems of retching are not seen with a bariatric surgery that is better tolerated comparatively?
Our bariatric surgery patients don't know what is called as retching. They don't know the spelling of retching also. They are absolutely comfortable, because one of the most important parts of bariatric surgery is counseling. We don't directly operate the patient. The patient goes through a rigorous schedule of diet protocols before surgery so that he or she is made to aware what is the expectation later. And my nutritionists are over here. So we have got very strong follow-up protocols also.
Right.
We've operated thousands of patients, and we were amongst the initiators of bariatric surgery in Mumbai and in India. I was the head of department at Jaslok for almost 9 years or 10 years. Then we stopped that because of this roads over here, the metro work. Now, being in this field for so many years, yes, from 2004, from 2003 to 2005 or 6, yes, we did notice this. But since the time we have made our protocols very strong, such a lovely counseling takes place for every patient. Every nutritionist will ensure that every patient is counseled at least twice a month or thrice a month on phone. Corona time has come now when physical distancing is there, but our nutritionists are in touch with every patient, even operated 16 years back on phone regularly. We've got around 97 to 98% follow-up.
So long-term follow-up is very essential.
So we have ensured either directly or so. More than, I think so, 53, 54 gynecologists in Mumbai support us. We assist them in their patient weight loss, and either through gynecologists or when the patient is coming directly, we have ensured that our connect is always there, directly or indirectly, with the patient. So patient is guided so well, we've never seen anything called as retching. So yes, balloon, I again say, dushman ko bhi nahi dunga main. So this patient, I would like to, is Dr. Nageshwari with us, or Dr. Sachin, or Dr. Abhishek, or Dr. Mahek? Would you like to put some points into this?
Dr. Manish?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to ask, any attempt for conception done by this female?
Yeah, I'll come up with that. I'll open up that later on, that story later on. What she had done, I'll speak about that.
Okay.
Manish sir, Sachin here.
Yes, Sachin, please tell me.
Okay, now there are two different thought processes in which a gynaec would behave.
Yeah.
One is an IVF specialist and second is a general gynecologist.
Yeah.
I had a similar patient whom we had advised weight loss and then come back to us after a year. And she goes to a nearby IVF specialist, gets IVF done, and after a year her relative comes की तुम्ही मला सांगितलं होतं weight loss करायला, पण आम्ही तिकडे जाऊन IVF केलं आणि आता 2 मुलं तयार झाली. So sadly, how the IVF specialist would tackle is totally different from where a general gynecologist would tackle.
Okay.
As a general gynecologist, I would of course advise her weight loss with all the possible means and bariatric inclusive, considering her weight is 110 kilos almost. But then the thought process really varies,
Okay. The message is understood. So yes, everyone is into an agreement of one thing, whether it's an infertility specialist or a regular gynec endoscopist, that yes, weight loss is one of the primary things which will not just help or assist in pregnancy, but also decrease the complications of pregnancy. Am I right? So I'll just, anyone else would like to give any other point before I go ahead with what was done with the patient and how the patient works?
Kindly go ahead, because I think there are some missing links.
So,
I would still like to ask, what was the actual cause of her obesity?
Yeah, why did she gain weight, and why she did not lose weight? Because if she gained weight, she should lose weight also. That is what my thinking is.
First of all, Dr. Nageshwari and Dr. Sudha, I would like to make one thing very clear. Obesity is a disease and bariatric surgery is a science. It's a scientific treatment to weight loss. And if this is science, then lakhs and lakhs and lakhs of studies have been done to say which patient is ideal for non-surgical method and which patient is ideal for surgical. So any patient who is less than 30 BMI, we don't need to touch. But any patient more than 30 BMI, there is no reason why we shouldn't operate, because today I have the privilege of having so many ladies with me on the panel over here, and each one of y'all, including my mother who is 73 years old, 73 years old, is always concerned about weight loss. And I know how much effort they put for that 1 kg, 2 kg, 3 kgs on the scale. So when we all are aware that to bring that 1 and 2 and 3 kgs down, we put our heart and soul and minds and everything into it. Please try to understand that if we have to get 20 kgs down, it is very easier said than done. It is not easy. And think of a girl, this is regarding medical point of view, but think of a girl who is 85 kgs and who goes to a store to purchase some clothes, and the person over there says, "Nahi, ye aapke size ka nahi hai." What is the psychological impact that is coming up on that girl? When she goes out and every second person gives her some advice that aap 2-4 kilo kam kar lo, kuch to kam kar lo. This brings them into a depressive mode. And I am here sitting after treating thousands and thousands of patients. My time, I am a very good listener. I give lots and lots of time. In fact, my nutritionists get bugged with me when I sit with a patient for 1.5 hours for my first consultation, and in that 1.5 hours, I have spoken only for 10 minutes. So these are some things which cannot be ignored, because bariatrics, obesity is a disease. Irrespective of the complications of the disease, obesity is a disease, and we have to treat it in a scientific manner. Regarding this patient, what all did she undergo? So I told you about the investigations that were done. So this patient underwent oral medication with follicular study with planned relations for 3 cycles with supervised weight loss with a registered dietitian. Then the patient was referred to an infertility expert, where the infertility expert clearly said that weight loss was very important. First, a diagnostic laparoscopy was also done. There was no endometriosis, bilateral tubes were normal, bilateral tubal patency was there, no evidence of COX or COX contact. A DNC was also done. Then IUI stimulations were done with gonadotropins. 3 cycles of IUI were done, and patient was advised supervised weight loss, and the patient has sincerely followed that. Patient then in depression took a break for 3 months, for a few months, and then patient went for an IVF cycle, and IVF cycle failed. Then she was referred to Asta Bariatrics. During this phase of 2 years of trial, she gained from 95 kgs to 108 kgs. And at Asta Bariatrics, she underwent a laparoscopic sleeve gastrectomy in 2009. And then the rest is in front of you. That weight after 8 months was 65 kgs. She had a 33 kg weight loss. And she conceived in February 2010. Delivered the first child in October 2010, delivered the second child in November 2015. Pregnancy was attained by normal methods of conception under the guidance of that same IVF specialist, and both the pregnancies were by LSCS. So this is what the patient went through, what was her entire cycle. Anyone would like to give any more inputs on this?
What I do is also very
No, actually, we have seen some obese people conceiving naturally, delivering naturally. But I mean to say, even though she had gained weight so much, did we do any test to confirm that she was ovulating or not?
Dr. Nageshwari, the patient has come to me through a gynecologist who was doing pure gynac, to an infertility specialist, and then to me. So my job was to see whether there is any other endocrine cause of weight gain, whether there was a non-correctable endocrine cause of weight gain, and
Okay.
because a hypothyroid is not a non-correctable cause. So even if a patient is hypothyroid, the patient has tremendously good results in pediatrics. So that was not my job. When a person has come through a specialist to me, I am sure that specialist, she's again a very well-known name in Mumbai. I'm sure she would have taken. I've just given a synopsis of the investigation, which I found important. And according to me, possibly each and everything was done. No infertility specialist will just send a person ahead before she has ensured that, yes, I have not lagged somewhere.
Yes, yes.
I'm sure she would have done all the due diligence before she has sent it ahead to me. And at that point of time, my work was primarily to ensure that I have to give her back with a good, effective weight loss without deficiencies. And as is the policy in this hospital, whether it comes from a gynecologist, we don't treat that patient later. Goes back to gynecologist. From infertility specialist, goes back to specialist. From a diabetologist, goes back to a diabetologist. So this has been the policy and of Asta Pediatrics since the time of research. So yes, that's with the patient, and that is the reason we got to know that the patient conceived, delivered once, delivered twice. This was all the message which has come to us through the gynecologist.
No, actually, I do believe that the weight loss itself will have boosted her morally and psychologically, and that brings lot of changes in a woman's body. I really feel that the psychological motivation is a must when a patient is trying to conceive. I think even others will agree that psychologically, when the lady is ready, then the body behaves totally different.
So, Dr. Manish, what I understand is there was no endocrine cause of obesity.
There was no endocrine cause. So it was a lifestyle thing, lifestyle and behavior.
It was lifestyle.
Yeah. But lifestyle changes. So we have a good triad for treatment of obesity, madam, where any patient who is less than 25 BMI is supposed to be normal weight will do a diet for maintaining her weight or up to 2 to 5 kg weight loss.
Right.
Any patient who is around 7 to 14 kgs overweight also and is less than 30 BMI, only diet doesn't help. There you require diet with exercise, with gym, with lots of other things. Little more weight up to 18, 19 kgs, we have also tried with behavioral therapy, lifestyle modifications, sometimes medications, sometimes Victoza, various other things that we have used. But by and large, a ballpark figure is that anyone who is more than 20 kgs overweight, and you would tell me, also agree with your personal experience also, anyone who is more than 20 kgs overweight is going to cause more harm by waiting than just keep attempting and keep attempting. Things are changing, madam. Now, I remember a time in 2003 and 4 when we used to operate around one patient in 6 months, to a time when we came to one patient in 3 months, to a time one patient surgery for a month. Now we do 2 to 3 surgeries a day, and we have traveled a lot of distance. So we know now the awareness is more. And initially, all our patients used to be direct patients. Now almost 60% of our patients are referred patients from specialty. Orthopedic surgeons, gynecologists, diabetologists, because everyone has understood that yes, we are a part and parcel of your treatment. We will only assist you in the weight loss to make sure that you take care of the patient better later on. I would like to just
one question at this point, please.
Yeah.
Just for me. For weight loss, how much percentage is the diet contributing and how much percentage is the exercise contributing? To my knowledge, it would be 80-20. I would like to know from Dr. Bhakti. I mean, is it?
Dr. Bhakti, please.
I mean,
So you're right. Yeah, you're right, Dr. Sudha. It is 80% of your nutrition and 20% of the workout. But it is mandatory to follow both because people feel it is 80% nutrition. So हम सिर्फ nutrition follow करते हैं. But then if you're not burning the extra calories, the 80% nutrition also fails.